Hey, I'm Carlos Garrido.
Hey everyone, I'm Sophia Rodriguez, and we are coming at you right out of the heart of Miami, Florida.
So this is today's episode of It Shouldn't Happen to Us. And it shouldn't happen to us.
It
These are
shouldn't.
tales, it shouldn't. These are tales of woe from the field, from your wannabe sales gurus who, even though we know what we're doing and it shouldn't happen to us, we still somehow seem to blow a deal as often as the rest of you guys. So I hope you enjoy the show. Right? Would you say we're in the heart of Miami? I'm not sure I'm in the heart of Miami. I think you are.
I'm like
So,
in Cuba.
well, that is the
My,
heart of Miami, right?
yeah, yeah.
Coming
Westchester,
to coming
South
to
Miami.
our sales audience out of the heart of Miami. You know, I used to have a boss who said, you know, the best thing about Miami is how close it is to the USA.
Yep,
Um,
it's right there. It's very
yeah,
close.
very close to the USA. So we're coming to you out of Miami to talk to you again this week about the woes and the trials and tribulations of being in the field selling and how tricky that can be. And wow, it's as tricky for us as it is for anybody, isn't it? So
It really is. We're out here fighting the good fight, aren't we?
it is a good fight. You know what? I'm glad you said called it that. It absolutely is a good fight. If you're not fighting the good fight, then I had a client once who was. I told you this story. Do you remember the client who was who was a Mormon and he'd been on a mission and he was struggling? He was all mixed up about having to make cold calls, and I said to him, You've been on a mission? Where was the mission?" And he gave me the name of some border town in Mexico, and I said to him, "Hey, do you ever get into any scrapes?" And he said, "Yeah, I was shot at many times, shot at with a gun, with an actual gun." And I said, "Wow, did you used to wake up in the morning with the same feeling that you wake up now?" And he said, "No, I used to spring out of bed, going and knocking on more doors, taking, the world, whatever his flavor of the word of God is to the world." And and I said to him, "Well, why is it that what you do now worries you so much?" And he thought for a moment, and he thought, and he said to me, "Maybe I just believed in what I was selling." It is a good fight. I think it is a good fight that we're on. Fight the good fight.
It really is a good fight, but it doesn't mean that prospecting isn't terrifying, especially if you're just getting started out, even, despite having been shot at. What is it about that, Carlos? Is it that our inner 6-year-old doesn't want to be scolded? Is it, it's no mystery that some people have thicker skin than others, and some of us take things a little more personally. And telling someone who takes things more personally, it's not as easy as, hey, stop taking things so personally. You need to have thicker skin. It's not that easy. And it's like it
You know,
comes
you've
from,
you've just
yeah. Mm-hmm.
you've just nailed it for me, and it's different for everybody, right? There are those people that hesitate with their sort of outreach, their reaching out into the world. Some people hesitate because they're afraid of rejection. Some people hesitate because they need it so much. They need the yes so much that they're frightened of asking even the question because they don't want to know the answer. They'd rather not know the answer than know the answer, right? It's like Schrodinger's box with the cat inside. The moment I open the box is when I find out if the cat's alive or dead. They would rather not ask the question than get an answer that they're not ready for. And for me, you've just done it. It's the inner 6-year-old doesn't want to be scolded. How pitifully weak is that? I feel quite nauseated by it. Every day, guys. For those of you listening in, I send Sophia my cookbook about my what it is I've been, what's my behaviour like, and am I doing the things I should be doing? Sophia is like the matron of the team, and every day I send her my activities and an inspiration. What inspired me today? You've just made that list today. So my inner 6-year-old can get scolded without me be worrying too much. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that one of the beautiful things about being an adult? You know?
Oh, I wonder how much. I'm sure there's probably been studies and books about this, the psychology of this. Like, I wonder if our nervous system even has something to do with it. Like, I know I've heard other sales gurus talk about how, oh, I used to look at the phone and think it actually had teeth and that it was going to attack me. Like, I was terrified of the phone. And I wonder if it what is it? Is it Woody Allen? You always used to say, Woody Allen says that if it's not one thing, it's your mother. Like, if I wonder if our nervous system lights up at the idea of being rejected. Like, if we had caregivers, it didn't have to be on a daily basis, but if we ever had our parents withdraw, or if we ever had our parents yell at us, and we kind of had that Pavlov response, we learned that like rejection or doing something bad was going to result in withdrawal of the parent or getting yelled at. Like, I wonder if having a prospect telling you to go pound sand activates at a body level, not just a mental level. But I wonder if it's a survival pattern or survival technique to avoid prospecting at a primal level.
You know, I think the primal part of this is that sort of tribal instinct that we have, right? There's the evolutionary biology behind tribes and the way tribes are created, and social acceptance is so well studied. I mean, this is really well understood. And the tribe's got to accept you. Why? Because that gives you a genetic advantage. You've got a genetic advantage if you're a little bit taller, if you're a little bit stronger, if you're, a little bit more resistant to whatever disease. And you've got a genetic advantage if you are tribally accepted. And so I think you're right. I think it's evolutionary biology. But there's I'm in charge of the elephant, right? It's the elephant and the rider. The elephant's strong. That tribal genetics is.
I've seen that. I've heard about this book.
Oh, what was it in?
Hamish Knox talks about it.
I can't remember. I can't remember what it was in. It was it was just it was on the tip of my tongue then, and it went away again. So the image, the mental model,
the amygdala hijack.
But it's in. Somebody talks about it really well. Is it Daniel Pink or is it? I can't remember.
I think
it'll come to me.
I think it is Daniel Pink. Okay, explain it, because I've never really been able to understand it.
So your subconscious is the elephant, right? It's the strong animal inside your head. The subconscious has got extraordinary power. But you're riding. God, I just got it again in my head. I keep getting flashes of who it was. Is this a Darren Hardy or a Tony Rock? I can't remember. But you're the rider, right? So your conscious mind is the rider of the elephant. Now, the rider of the elephant it doesn't have the same strength that the elephant has, but it can control the elephant, right? And so the conscious mind can control that extraordinary power of the subconscious. Is the model. That's the mental model. What I was applying that model to was, we've got the evolutionary biology, which is the elephant, but I'm the rider of that elephant. I should be able to say, there's a tribal instinct that says, don't be rejected by the tribe because you're going to be thrown to the wolves, or, left out. If you're watching the Rings of Power thing, you'd be like the Half-Foots that were at the back of the pack as they travel to their the next place they all have to stay. So there's a tribal advantage for being accepted by the tribe, but I'm in charge of that, right? Or I should be. It's like Matilda. Have you ever seen Matilda? Have you ever seen the show? Bloody brilliant, Matilda. When I grow up, there's that song where she sings, "When I grow up, I'm going to eat sweets every day. I'm going to watch cartoons all night. When I grow up, I'm going to climb the tree, even the ones I can't reach the branches. When I grow up, I'm not going to be frightened of the monsters." It's a wonderful song. And and when you listen to it, the last time I listened to that, and I thought to myself, that's what I thought when I was young. And then you grow out of wanting those things, and it's pretty tragic, right? You grow out of
how depressing.
you grow out of wanting to eat sweets all day, and you grow. Actually, I haven't grown out of that. I wish I had grown out of that. But you grow out of wanting to watch cartoons every night. Then you get older, and it's like a good night's sleep. Oh, how wonderful is a good night's sleep, right? How depressing is that? But when you're a kid and and somebody gets upset with you, and I don't know, for me, it hurts your feelings. Well, when I grow up, I'm not going to care what people think about me. That didn't happen either.
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen. How did that one miss me? When I grow up, I'm not going to care what people think about me. When I grow up, people aren't going to be able to hurt my feelings like that. How did I miss that train? Wow, I missed that class at school.
Do you think there's actually people that, do you think, like, aside from like people like Kanye West and like maybe Elon Musk, like, do you think there are people that really don't give a rip what anyone thinks about them?
Well, first of all, there are. First of all, there are those Teflon eyesides. It's like, but you did happen to stumble upon two very hardly role models, right? Elon Musk and Kanye West, right?
They're almost like yeah, and not role models, but it's almost like they have a pathology. Like, it's almost not like it's.
Well, yeah, you know what? And I wonder if even in what we do, there's a price and a payoff, right? There's a price. There's a payoff of being rejection proof, means that no one can hurt you. But the price is, maybe do you pay the price of empathy? Because in the world of in what we do every day in the market, helping clients and helping people make great decisions. That's an expensive price to pay. The price of empathy. I don't want to be without empathy. I think that'll steal from my ability to go out and make an impact. Don't you? You've got a strong empathetic streak. Now, where it morphs, when it gets uncomfortable, is when empathy becomes sympathy. Or as Kim shot, ruinous empathy. Ruinous empathy is when the empathy is controlling the show, is creating the outcome.
Yeah.
That's ruinous empathy.
That used to be my biggest problem in sales. Remember? That used to be my biggest issue.
What's your current biggest problem? How long have you got? What's your current biggest problem?
Oh, man.
We said that today's episode we were going to talk about.
The topic is sell like there's no. Yeah, sell like there's no end to the number of clients that want to work with you.
So is that abundance mentality versus scarcity mentality? I don't think it is, actually. I think it's connected to that, but it's different to that. I think it's about having about not being frightened of losing a deal. Because if there was no end to the number of clients who want to work with you, then you'd be able to first pick the deal you want to work on, the work you want to do. You'd pick it. And by the way, would you pick every client that you've currently got? Don't mention names, but wow, no, I wouldn't.
Right.
And you know who you are. I wouldn't.
Well, it goes alongside the some will, some won't, so what, someone else is waiting, which just recently I had an interesting conversation with a client, with a group. I think this whole idea of going for the no has a tendency to turn some salespeople and some sales leaders off. Because I don't think they really understand that, of course, we want a yes. You don't want to go so negative sell them off the table. But if you're selling like there's no end to the number of clients that want to work with you, I want to hurry up and get to those people that I can help. That's more the mindset. Am I on the money?
Yeah, I saw I saw one of those podcasts, not podcasts, like a TikTok where they do dad jokes to each other
Oh
to see
boy.
to see who's going to break first. I think there's one with like Ryan Reynolds and the guy. There's a couple of guys from a couple of the comedians from SNL, but the old school, like Anchorman. Who's the Anchorman guy? It's Mark Wahlberg and the guy who was in Anchorman. I forget what he's called. Anyway, they do that.
Will.
No, is it Will? I don't know. But they were doing that. Have you ever seen where
Will
they tell
Ferrell?
each other? Yes, Will Ferrell.
Will
And
Ferrell.
they tell each other jokes and they try and crack up. And they're like the crappy jokes. One of the guys said, I read a book on reverse psychology. Nah, it's no good. You shouldn't read it. That's brilliant. Brilliant. Jim. I read a book on reverse psychology. It's no good. You shouldn't read it. But that's what it is, though, right? The go for the no is in some ways now. Before anybody gets all upset and starts sending us comments about manipulation, I think we should describe the difference as we see it between manipulation and inspiring somebody into a great decision. Do you want to take that? Do you want me to take it?
Are we talking about the ethics of selling?
Yeah, but it's about so many people will say, like, if we're talking about reverse psychology and talking about, you just mentioned it, go for the no.
Right.
Go for the no isn't designed to get a no.
Yes.
Go for the no is designed to provoke. And there's going to be some people like, it was before you and I were working together, but there was a lady called Antonella and she was very, if you've watched it, she wouldn't mind me sharing. Antonella was all like so hesitant about some of these philosophies, like the negative philosophy, the reverse psychology philosophies, and it felt to her like manipulation,
like trickery.
And it's trickery, right? Is it trickery? And nobody wants to be that guy.
We get a lot of clients that feel that way, don't they?
Not a lot, but it's usually those clients who are.
Not a lot, but every boot camp, there's at least one.
There's one person who.
There's one.
But let me tell you what that is. But let me tell you what that is. When we teach, for example, as a great example, negative reversing or negative psychology, reverse psychology. If somebody wants to see in that the devil, they want to see the demon in that. This is manipulation and it's trickery. I'm telling you, they're looking for it. And if they don't find it there, they're going to find it somewhere else. If you look, you'll find, right? They're looking for it because what they really want to prove to themselves is what they're doing already is right. They want to prove that to themselves. That is, what's the, there's a quote, man, I'm now going to forget who said it, but it's, when given the choice of changing what you're doing or proving that there's no need to change, most people get busy on the proof. And I can't remember whose quote that is, but somebody will look it up. You can look it up. But it's they're getting busy on the proof. Why am I going to do this? Because it's trickery. When it isn't. It's manipulation if your end, your motive, the thing you're trying to achieve is not in everybody's best interests. And then you've got a deeper question to ask, which is, why the hell are you doing that? If what you're trying to achieve is inspiring a great decision, then it's not manipulation, it's inspiration. It's managing somebody's humanity to a great decision, because human beings are fabulous at making terrible decisions, right? So yeah, it isn't that. So yes, I agree. It's going for the no is not manipulation, but I'd also agree that is a good example of somebody selling. If you're struggling with that, go for the no, like so many people that we work with are. You're not coming from a mindset that says, hey, there's tons of people that want to work with me. Tons of people want to work with me. They're lining up round the street. Because then you'd be comfortable with it. You know, I had a prospect this week. And we were talking through a project. We were talking through some work. And the guy, I kid you not, Sophia, it shouldn't happen to us, right?
No.
He said to me, okay, so that all makes sense. Let's do it, right? When he said, let's do it, what happened in my mind? Ring the bell. That's exactly
got
right.
one.
Got one. Let's do it, he said. Just send the contract, because we have a very simple contract, to our CFO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, our contract, for those of you who don't know us, is like so simple it could have been written by a kindergartner. I mean, it really could have been written by a kindergartner. And that's probably an extreme. It depends on the kindergarten. There are some very impressive kindergartens, right? But
there really are.
Yeah, there really are.
Maybe Neanderthal, I don't know.
Doogie Howser level kindergartner. But, and guess what I said? I said, rightio. Oh, rightio, yeah, of course. That makes sense. Like, and it was only after, when I was like, then just like putting the names on the contract ready to send it to the CFO, that I thought, what an idiot. How did I get trapped into how on earth did I get trapped into sending this guy this document, in introducing this fictional step? And I remembered what he said. He said, all we need to do now is send it. This is the CEO. He owns the business.
Bait perfect for the taking. Bait perfect and delicious for the taking. Just all the last step before you see my credit card information is just that you send me that. You hear that, you're like, oh, right away. Right?
All we need to do now. Isn't that really interesting language? Need. Why on earth did I not have that? Why did I not slow down to speed up? Why didn't I say, well, I can do it, but I doubt we need it. Well, where did the lack of strength to actually just rattle that cage for a moment? Spending 10 seconds rattling that cage had every potential of saving 2 weeks in this fictional new process that this guy dreamt up right in front of me, right? The fictional new process. All we need to do now, need such an interesting word. I could have attacked that from 15 different fronts, right? Need surprises me. Could have said that. That'd have been cool. Need, that surprises me. Could have said that. Could have said, I doubt that's a need, but it sounds like a want. That could have been a cool thing to say, right? But no, what did I say? Roger Wilco, rightio.
Are you one of those people?
I'll get right on that, like an idiot. Gonna get right on that.
Are you one of those people that thinks about what you should have said to someone in a row or in a sales situation in the shower?
In a row. Do I think about it in the shower? I think about a lot of things in the shower. I think about it when my time of reflection,
deep reflection,
and really deep reflection on my own inadequacies. It usually comes after as I climb into bed at night and it's me and the pillow. That's usually when I do my deep introspection, unless it's a row with Carolina, of which there are many. But a row with my Carolina would normally, I have that. She encourages me to have those moments of deep reflection straight after the row.
Right.
And you can imagine how my Colombian wife encourages me to deep reflection in the heat of of conflict.
Do you ever go way back, to that bully in middle school, and you're like, you know what, I should have told that guy.
Gavin.
Should have.
He was called Gavin.
Big
tall fella. Gavin. Big tall fella. What should I have done? No, you know what? I quite like my retreat strategy in those circumstances. That's always looked after me. Retreat. There was a Mel Brooks song, Retreat. Retreat, give your feet a chance. Is what it said.
You know what? When under attack, fall back.
Yeah.
And that applies to all we need is for you to send X, Y, and Z. It's like they turn into this parental authoritative figure. And we crawl right into tiny salesperson with the briefcase, compliant. Let me just comply with the ordinance. Let me just do what
So,
mommy and daddy told me to do.
comply with the ordinance. I like that. You can imagine it, pinning it to the wall like Martin Luther. Right, here is the new ordinance. For me, my problem was I didn't hear it as an attack. I'm pretty good if I hear an overt attack. As I've grown up and got bigger and stronger, I can handle an attack. My problem is I heard that as good news. That's the depth of misery that we're talking about here. I heard that as good news.
But you also did the classic salesperson respect the request. I used to have a boss in my old world that always used to say, Sophia, you really need to learn when to respect the request, which I get it. It's hard, right? Because there's some deals that we really shouldn't close. There's some deals that it was wrong. They were never a fit to begin with, but they just want to work with us, and we respect the request. And looking back on it, maybe we should have respected the request. But did you feel like it was good news, so I must respect the request to get? What was it really?
No, so here's why I'm disappointed in myself. I bought the card trick, and I should know better. It's a card trick. It's distraction. It's what do they call it when they're showing you one hand and they're doing the magic with the other hand? It's sleight of hand. There we are. That's the right phrase.
Sleight of hand.
That's all it is. It's sleight of hand. So what upsets me about the fact that I let this sail past me isn't that I respected the request, because I'm going to respect the request. I'm not a complete idiot. I'm not like out in the world ferocious trying to kill everybody. I'm going to respect the request, but I'm going to challenge the premise of it. That's what I missed. I think given my time again, go on, give me the line. Give me the line. Hey, all we need to do now, use the word need, is send the contract to the CFO. Give me the line.
Carlos, great. All we need now is for you to send the contract to the CFO.
Sophia, hey, happy to send the contract to the CFO. I'm just curious as to why we're introducing steps that we don't need to. That I could do, or I could have done, hey, Sophia, it's interesting, my spidey sense picked up on the word need. In my experience, I mean, that's magic language in my experience. In my experience, requests like that are rarely needs. But if it's important to you, hey, let's just manage that environment. Let's get this guy on the phone. I'll get the guy on the phone. I'll go and see the guy. I'll get a Zoom with the guy. I don't mind him looking. I've not got anything to hide. I mean, it's our contract. I mean, really, in reality, if anybody was to read any of our contracts, they're so sickeningly benign. It's almost like we're terrified that someone's going to get upset with us when they read it, right? So even that on its own is a separate issue. And again, would our contract be tougher, a little more demanding if we did think that the world was full of people who wanted to work with us? Like there's an abundance. They can't wait. There's millions of them. I might put a little bit of toughness in my contract. There's nothing in my contract. There's no toughness in my contract. And yet, I still felt, I don't know, no, it's not disimpact. I'm annoyed because I missed the card trick. I fell for the card trick. It was David Blaine in front of me and I fell for it. And we should know better. We should be able to go, wait a minute. It's like, you know what it should be like? Have you ever seen that show where magicians come and show Penn and Teller a trick? They show Penn and Teller a trick, and Penn and Teller have to figure out how the trick was done. You and I are Penn and Teller in that metaphor. We should be able to see how the trick is done, right? We should see the sleight of hand. When this guy said, you just need to send the contract, I should have challenged. Need? Listen, happy to. I should be able to spot the card trick. And I can spot it. It's just my reflex is to do oh yeah, sure, is to respect the request. Yeah.
Despite role playing, because it's not like we don't role play. It's not like we don't have a playbook.
And we're a
But in the
lot better
moment, you
since we
think
role played.
this time, what is it that makes you think this time will be different? You know what? This time, and maybe it kind of speaks to our last episode where it's like, it's a slippery slope when you've had a great conversation, you get to the end of the process and, you feel like you've got a connection and you kind of trust that the prospect's going to do what they say they're going to do and they're going to honor it. And it's all connected, isn't it?
Oh, it's always connected, right? And if it's not one thing, it's your mother. As you pointed out earlier, Woody Allen's best line ever. If it's not one thing, it's your mother. But there is that mother voice. There is that, well, I wrote it down, that inner 6-year-old that is in every conversation, that inner 6-year-old. And I've got to do, and we do role play, and we are better at it. I mean, goodness me. Of course, we're better at it than we ever were, and we're better at it than nearly anybody we meet. But this is a constant journey of development. And there's no environment with live rounds like out in the field trying to sell something. What a dangerous environment that can be. What if you are exposed? If that wound is exposed, what a dangerous environment out in the field with live rounds being shot is. That's why our role plays are so precious, right? Our time spent between just ourselves, just you and me and the team, you, me, Miles, Gio, and the team, just role.
Yeah, it really is like a gym. Just because you did arm day, twice this week,
this year
doesn't mean this year, right? It doesn't mean
arm
that
day
when
they were two good days though. Whoa, I ached for like minutes after. Minutes.
It doesn't mean that you're not going to throw out your shoulder on moving day. You got to move some heavy stuff. Like, should I share the story about the inbound call I got this week?
Yeah, go on. Let's do it.
So similar scenario. We know that we want to hold off on discussing price, not as a move, not as a tactic, but we don't want to be leading with the investment for our services out the gate, because we know that people don't know how to buy what we sell. And the only language you and your prospect probably have in common is dollar signs. And that's why they want to get down to that as soon as possible. And it's very valid. There's nothing, but it's not great criteria with which to make the decision to get help or not for whatever they're looking to get help in. And I got an inbound lead this week. The voicemail, it was a voicemail left. Jubelka, our client experience manager, got the voicemail, and all she did was simply send me a text message with this person's number and saying, hey, this is someone who sounded like they really, really are interested. You might want to call them as soon as possible. And that day,
of course they're really interested, because they've got no money. If they had money, they'd be terrified. Didn't that what Owen Sadler used to say? Of course, if they've got no money, they're great. Of course they're interested. But anyway, I'm going to guess already that they might have no money. Go on.
You mean
as soon as they're really interested, let me tell you, they've either got no money or they've got no authority or both. But carry on.
Oh, that's so good. Damn it. That's so good.
Shouldn't happen to us, right?
I'm going to listen back to this episode for reference, to tap to it, to sear it into the mind. So, two things. Now that I'm thinking back on it, it's two things I did wrong. I hadn't thought about this one. I looked her up on LinkedIn. I couldn't really find anything on her. So I didn't really prepare. I called her in between meetings. I was like, let me just give her a 10-minute chit chat to see if it even makes sense to hop on a Zoom later. So I was kind of rushed. I was just coming off of doing a couple of trainings and coaching calls, and I was just in the middle of the day, which it's like taking a snow globe and shaking it up. I don't think it's a good time to make a prospecting call, when the snow is still, I feel like you want to be quite grounded when you're making a prospecting call. And
Oh, that
sometimes you
is
get that.
genius imagery, that, Sophia. That is wonderful imagery. And you know, when you think back now, I'm now thinking back to those calls that spin out of my control. The snow globe is busy.
It's
The snow
busy,
globe is busy when I'm
and you
making
think,
some of these goals, when some of these calls.
time kills all deals. I got to get to it. This girl needs me. Let me just bang it out. She just called today. She's going to be impressed if I give her a call today. She's going to be happy with it. So I didn't really do much of my due diligence. Like, I didn't sit down and write down, fast forward to the end, what I would like to happen. I didn't ground myself. The snow was everywhere.
The
Right?
snow
Snow and
globe
the
was
glitter.
busy.
The
The
snow
snow
globe
globe
was
was
busy.
busy. That is our new phrase. Was the snow globe busy, Sophia?
The snow globe, totally. And I was running around. I was not grounded, and I was not present, and I was, just trying to 911 emergency. And it's not like we're in the business. No lives will be lost if I take, a little extra time to ground myself, right? Sometimes I feel like, man, I better get to this quick. So,
I remember.
cool.
So I used to. So Dad, I grew up with a family restaurant, and Dad owned the restaurant, and the whole family worked. When we were busy, everybody was in. And if you're busy night, right? People would turn up. Oh, hello, Mr. Jones. Table at 8 o'clock. And sometimes you were getting rid of the people from 6 o'clock, getting ready for table. And I would see Dad say, "Oh yeah, sure. That table will be ready for you in a minute." And one guy said, "Yeah, but I booked at 8." And Dad said, "Yeah, the table will be ready in a minute. We'll get it ready for you." And the guy said, "Yeah, but I booked at 8 and it's 8 now." And Dad said, "Well, it's not heart surgery, it's dinner. It's okay. No lives will be lost, as you say. It's not heart surgery.
No lives will be
It's
lost.
dinner.
Like,
Give it a minute."
yeah. So I have a cool conversation with her, and I figure out pretty quickly. Interesting, actually, one of her colleagues was an old client of ours, and he recommended us.
Oh,
and so I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
nice.
So it's warm, and
but instantly more valuable in your head.
Right.
Instantly, dink, instantly more valuable, like a fool.
So
right?
true.
Go. Yeah.
So true. But I could tell pretty quickly that she wasn't the decision maker. And I knew that the next step was to talk to set up a nice Zoom or in-person meeting with the decision maker. And she says to me, "Well, Sophia, that makes a lot of sense. But before I do that, they're definitely going to want to know if to meet with you, to even consider meeting all of us, they're going to want to know ballpark, more or less, how much it costs." And I was like, "Well, this kind of makes me," I was like, "It makes me a little uncomfortable."
Well, at least you didn't fall into that trap, right? So
Right.
At least you spotted the card trick. You at least spotted that card trick, that you didn't instantly say fall into pricing because that's what they'd asked you, right? So at least you had enough presence of mind for your spidey sense to start tingling. Ooh, danger. So now we know what you do with that. You go on, impress me, Sophia. We know how to handle that. Do it. Or did you not?
So I was like, "Hey, it makes sense. That makes sense. They want to know more or less ballpark before they even invest. They're probably busy. I love working with busy people. I'm busy. I get it. They want to know ballpark before they meet with me." Thing is, that makes me a little bit uncomfortable because I actually train our clients at Sandler Miami, not to just give away price on the first phone call. So I'm sure you understand, this is part of my process. She's like, "Well, no, that makes sense. I get it. But just, can you give me a range?" And then I just gave her a range. I did give her a range.
Oh,
and
my
of course,
God.
she
And
fell out of her chair. She was like, "Whoa, all right." So, yeah, okay. And she went from being cool AF to, All right. Okay. Great. Great. Okay. So thank you. Couldn't get me off
Thanks,
the phone
Soph. Okay,
fast enough.
bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Yeah. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Right. Great. Bye. Okay. Let me know. Bye.
You know, so the snow globe was busy. So we're gonna cut you. We're gonna give you a free pass on that. Snow globe was busy. I remember once there was a guy, and I'm going back maybe 9 years now, and I got an email of somebody. Hey, how much for sales training? That was the email. It was like one line email. How much? So I said, I know exactly what to do with that. Let's jump on a call. Need to know a little bit more about it. But
It's
whoever
like a drug deal. It sounds like a drug deal.
yeah, exactly.
Hey, how much for some of this stuff?
It's like a scene from Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
So, and I said, hey, let's jump on a call. Reply comes in, yeah, but how much is it? And I'm like, well, I need to know a lot more about it. He replied back with me, two guys, like boom. And I'm like, it's very difficult. And after the guy wasn't getting on a phone call. I mean, clearly it's what a cry for help. With my eye today, I would have seen that as a cry for help, but at the time, I just found it funny. So I looked up what this company does, and they sold radio equipment, right? They sold radio equipment. So it got to, this was in like about 10 minutes of email exchanges. I got to the point where I was like, I forget it. So I just sent him an email that said, sales training, $1 million. I need to buy some radio stuff. How much would that be? Right? That's what I said back. Sales training, $1 million. I need to buy some radio stuff. How much would that be? And unsurprisingly, never heard from that guy again. So, Sophia, how would it all be different if we sold like there was a queue of people round the block all baying for our time? I still think we would fall for some of those traps because it's in the human condition, right? It's just in the human condition. Sophia, lovely to see you. Thank you very much if you have listened along with us. Sure, at some point, Sophia and I will figure out a good outro, but for now, it's goodbye from Sophia, and it's goodbye from Carlos.
Signing out. Bye.
Signing out.